What is going on? Welcome back to the channel. So today we're going to talk to you about Opendoor. I want to go over some of the data points, what just came out, and go over everything else that you need to know. But first, make sure to hit that thumbs up, and with that, let's get right to it. So Opendoor is up 3.7%. A lot of volatility though today. Did have a spike to 870 and then 824 so far today is the low. Kind of low volume, so 9.6 million shares being traded, 353 is the average. Nothing official from the company itself, no SEC filings or anything like that. On a macro standpoint, no real data points. One thing that is really fueling the broader market is a recent deal with OpenAI and AMD, so that's fueling a lot of tech and AI plays. So I think Opendoor's kind of piggybacking off of that a little bit. But over the weekend, there's been a couple big updates I wanted to share with you. So one of which was this right here. So 𝗪𝗧 just saying for the upcoming shareholder meeting, they want to have the opportunity for people to ask questions of management not shareholder meeting. It says next earnings, but Vlad said, I can help you with this. And this isn't the first time that people have correlated Opendoor and Robinhood as kind of talking to each other. So Vlad has mentioned in the past that they see the opportunity to tokenize stocks as well as real estate. This is how some people have really correlated how Opendoor's new AI type of mentality is going to, in one way or another, lean on Robinhood for that type of integration. So that could be massive for the real estate sector. So again, I think just a lot of people are jumping to conclusions, but you never know. There could be some validity to it. One thing as well that just came out, and I think it's amazing timing, and that is this. So Opendoor is up during the pre-market saying it will accept Bitcoin payments for home purchases. This is something that I feel like Opendoor has lagged, because if they actually put this out in official news format, then essentially you could see this run up like crazy, because when Bitcoin last ran up to 123,000, right now it's sitting at all-time highs currently, but last time it did run up to that 123 range in August, you had a lot of companies starting to say, hey, we're now having Bitcoin treasuries, blah, blah, blah. And the market just took those and ran them up hundreds and hundreds of percent. So at the end of the day, this is very unique, and it would be really good if Opendoor really did formalize that. The only problem with Opendoor is that there's now a lot of people talking about it, especially from the company itself. And so I haven't really seen Vlad mention this, but I've seen multiple different accounts stating that Opendoor's going to be accepting Bitcoin. So I don't know. Do your own due diligence. Again, I feel like Opendoor does need to get their PR system under wraps, because I like to look at this, as I've shown you in the past. So official PRs. And I think in general, algorithmic trading does also feed based on this right here. So if Opendoor really does want to move higher, they need to put out news. So again, that's something just to keep in mind. And as well, they didn't even put out any official news based on that big update about that 7-day kind of return policy and that 100-day warranty. So that is something that they could potentially improve on in the foreseeable future. Aside from that, at the time of doing this video, shorts are increasing 1.27 million shares. So this is why Opendoor's kind of getting suppressed, because you're not seeing that much in volume. So about 10 million shares being traded, and at least 1.2 of that is shorts. 20.17% of the free floats being shorted, works out to be 142.9 million shares overall being shorted. So shorts surprisingly are increasing today. I would have anticipated them to return a little bit, but nonetheless, the fact that Opendoor is green is kind of a good thing. Looking at the options, market just opened roughly 15 minutes ago, so take this with a grain of salt, but 3.6 million in calls, 1.4 in puts. 79% of all the options being done are bearish in nature. And this goes hand in hand with shorts. As I've mentioned numerous times in the past, is that once the market does open, you have a lot of shorts and individuals kind of betting that Opendoor or any stock will go down through puts. And this is why you have a lot of bearishness right here. And yeah, stock price essentially goes down, and their actual options do appreciate. And so I think shorts are playing a big role in what is happening through the options. So it's a common strategy that Opendoor ones like to do. And normally I don't do a video in the early morning. This is why you don't really see it represented like this. I normally do it in the afternoon-ish. So again, kind of a unique circumstance. From a bull standpoint, you see a consensus for it to be above 950. Bears are anticipating for it to be sub kind of 9. Again, market just opened, so it's not that much information right here. So between that $8 to $9 range is anticipated. These are all the transactions occurring so far today on the secondary market above $100,000. So nothing really crazy as far as right now. Dark pool, I'll give you a quick overview of that. So these are some of the transactions occurring on the dark pool. So far only 3, so not that much activity coming from hedge funds or anything else. Right now with that 826, it is trading between this R1 and the pivot. 824 is going to be that strong support. You really want to watch for Opendoor to hold. Flip side, 864 is going to be the next strong target / resistance, and it kind of bounced off that general area, so we know that is also a very heavy resistance level. Aside from all of that fun stuff on the actual chart itself, things are looking pretty good, still above that 10-day moving average, so still a lot of good momentum. And as I've mentioned in my video yesterday, you really want to watch for it to especially close above that 10-day moving average, but there hasn't really been that much in kind of real articles. There was this that did come out, again, just further validating that Opendoor potentially will be accepting Bitcoin. So that would be huge. So this one came out from CoinMarketCap. So pretty credible in my opinion. But aside from that though, it's just algos that is really suppressing Opendoor, because of course I showed you all the secondary market transactions. The dark pool doesn't really jive with the overall volume. So these are all kind of why Opendoor is getting dragged down, and that is just algorithmic trading. So at the end of the day, I feel like Opendoor should really formalize a lot of their actual news, because I feel like they're kind of not doing harm to themselves, but it's not benefiting them, because if they put out formal news, algos will piggyback off of this and really move things higher. I've kind of called out some companies that try to manipulate that type of mentality. They do PR blitzes and just put out news after news after news every single day, even if it's not anything substantial. They just put out a lot of the keywords and highlights that algos will pick up on, and then their stock goes up. So I think Opendoor definitely does need to do that. They are lagging a little bit in that aspect, but if they accept Bitcoin, I think that is huge for the company, and we'll be able to piggyback off of the broader Bitcoin momentum. So let me know your general thoughts on kind of Opendoor, how things are going. Are you buying? Are you selling? Do you think that's a good thing that they would accept cryptocurrency or just Bitcoin for transactions? Or do you think that's just more of a kind of fugazi type of hype play? So what's your general thoughts? One final thing, pop over to my Patreon if you're looking for some solid buy signals on stocks, options, crypto. Put out daily day trades, numerous swing trades. Worthwhile to pop over there and check that out. With all that said, appreciate all of you watching.